Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. And
good morning. It is with my great pleasure on behalf of the organizing team to welcome you all to
the 5th International Conference on Water Resources 2021,
also known as ICWR 2021. I am Nur Atira binti Muhammad.
And I am Muzaffar Zainal Abidin. We are truly honored to be here today to meet all of you, our respected and honorable audiences and guests, professors, doctors and engineers, speakers and presenters, as well as the participants of this conference. Welcome to the keynote sessions of the 5th International Conference on Water Resources 2021. We would like to take this opportunity to inform you that the ICWR 2021 opening ceremony shall commence after the keynote sessions end. To begin with, we are very delighted to have two very distinguished speakers deliver their keynote addresses.
Our honorable speakers will be introduced by Professor Dr. Sobri Harun. It with great pleasure for me to introduce the moderator to you. Dr. Sobri Harun is a professor in Water Resources Engineering, University Technology Malaysia. He received his Bachelor's Science in Civil Engineering from Salford University, UK, and Master's Science in Engineering Hydrology from Imperial College London. His PhD in Hydrology was from University Technology Malaysia. He teaches Hydrology and Hydraulic Engineering subject. His research and publication are mostly related to modeling in hydrology, river engineering, water resources, and climate changes. His research works published in various journals, and he is one of the panel members of Malaysia Quality Assurance Agency, a member of IAHR and IAHS, a guest editor to Journal of Water Climate Change, and he joins the editorial board to Malaysia Construction Research Journal. Currently, he is an associate fellow of Center for Coastal and Ocean Engineering, University Technology Malaysia. Professor Dr. Sobri, the virtual floor is yours.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum warahmatullah, and very good morning to everyone. It is a great pleasure for me to introduce our speaker today. Yang berbahagia Datuk Seri Engineer Dr. Zaini bin Ujang, who is going to deliver first keynote. Datuk Seri Engineer Dr. Zaini Ujang is the Secretary General Ministry of Environment and Water Malaysia since March 2020. He was the former Secretary General Ministry of Energy, Green Technology and Water Malaysia, Secretary General Ministry of Higher Education, Secretary General to Ministry of Education, and former Vice Chancellor, University Technology Malaysia, and Professor of Environmental Engineering. He holds Bachelor in Chemical Engineering from UTM, MSc and PhD in Environmental Engineering from Newcastle, UK, AMP Harvard Business School, USA. He received professional recognition as a professional engineer, chartered engineer, and fellow of various institutions and associations. He has also received honors, and those are the Merdeka Award, Honorary Doctor of Science from Newcastle, UK, Honorary Visiting Professor, Imperial College London, UK, Lund, Sweden, Kyoto, Tsukuba, Japan, President, Harvard Business School Alumni Club of Malaysia, Tokoh Ma'al Hijrah Kebangsaan, and President, Friends of Rivers Malaysia. He is professional environmental engineer, experienced public servant, and corporate director. He has experience in the field of environmental sustainability, energy security, green technology and lifestyle, higher education financial framework, and intellectual ecosystem. He published 45 books, more than 300 scientific papers, and more than 2,000 general articles. So he has vast global networking with Harvard, MIT, Columbia, Imperial College London, Oxford, Tokyo, Kyoto, Tsukuba, LAN, and with global professional organization. So I'm pleased to welcome Yang Berbahagia Datuk Seri Engineer Dr. Zaini bin Ujang to deliver his keynote. Thank you.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Can you hear me? Dengar? Dengar tak?
Dengar.
Okay. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. First of all, I would like to thank the organizing committee for inviting me to talk about something related to water resources. And since I just got back from Glasgow, attending a conference of the parties 26 of the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change, I think it's very timely for me to address this conference by also addressing climate issues. As we know that there are three major water issues in Malaysia. Number one is flooding, number two is droughts, and number three is pollution. Sometimes it occurs at the same time in Peninsula or in Sabah and Sarawak, but in different locations. Sometimes we had flooding in Lembah Kelang, but we have droughts in Kedah or in Perlis. Of course, pollution occurs all the time, and recently we realized that the major issue of pollution in Malaysia is limited to suspended solid and solid waste, largely. So this is the latest photos that released by Penama. It's about 10 hours ago, happening in Ampang, Selangor. Ampang is very interesting place where the origins of Sungai Kelang can be traced around Bukit Belacan. And then the other one is from Gombak. Yeah? So why I mention this? 5 kilometers from this spot, you can still swimming in the river of Kelang in Ampang. And downstream, 5 kilometers, this is where we started our program Sungai Kelang at Ampang Trails about a month ago. So this weekend we are going back to this area. When we talk about water resources, we have to look into a bigger perspective. And from our perspective, we have to look into planetary health. And this is a new concept whereby the issue of health sciences to be integrated with natural and physical sciences. And this is where you get planetary health component. I'll give you an example, the issue of climate change, novel entities in environment, stratospheric ozone depletion, atmospheric aerosol loading, ocean acidification, biochemical flows, freshwater use, land system change, or biosphere integrity is part of the whole perspective of planetary health. At the moment, from planetary health point of view, geochemical flows is exceeding the limit of uncertainty. It's very high risk. Therefore, this is largely in our water ecosystem, aquatic ecosystem, or in hydrosphere, where the substances of phosphorus and nitrogen from agricultural activities, from wastewater poorly treated, flows to the river, flows to the aquatic ecosystem. And this is exceeding now. So when you talk about it, it is not only happening in countries like Malaysia, but also throughout the world. And the message is very clear. It is exceeding the limit of uncertainty. It means that during good time in our dam, in our water compoundment, the concentration of nutrients is very high. As a result, we have a lot of issues related to eutrophication, related to enhancement of micronutrients and persistent organics in our water system or in our water supply. On top of that, we have also biosphere integrity, especially on genetic diversity. Let's talk about it later. When we look into the whole perspective of planetary health, it has three drivers. Number one is overconsumption. As a new or as a modern society, we consume almost everything more than our previous generation, unnecessarily, and sometimes we don't use it. We buy and we buy. The moment the consumption is high, the demand is high, the supply chains need to be enhanced as well. So a lot more natural resources to be exploited, a lot more waste to be generated because we don't use them. 40% of our food are to be wasted. 40% of the food that we are preparing, we are harvesting to be wasted. And this is the data that very shocking when I just came back from Glasgow, COP26, where people talking about can we finish our food? We don't have to have buffet in the future because buffet means that more than 40% will be wasted and will be dumped and sent to landfill or incinerated, to be incinerated. The other one is demographic shift, whereby we're shifting our position now from rural area into urban area. In the near future, by 2040 or 2050, I forgot, 80% of the world population will be in urban area. So you just imagine with 80% of the people in one center or in urban centers, it will create a lot of issues related to housing, related to infrastructures, related to socioeconomic development. And the third one is technology. We use a lot of electricity. As a result, we have to produce enough power. And the easiest, the cheapest fossil fuel. And therefore, we have issues of climate change. We have issue of global pollution, biodiversity loss because we cut or we do a lot of mining operation in order to get fossil fuel. We altered geochemical cycle and land use and land cover change from time to time. If you go to United States, say for United Kingdom, say for example, we realized that the forest cover is very limited, less than 10%. Why? Because for generations, for 100 years, they cut trees, and as a result, trees cannot be planted in many parts of that country. Then we have causes such as air pollution, food production, infectious disease exposures, access to fresh water, and natural hazards such as flooding and whatnot. So the mediating factors are culture and behavior, which is very important. We have changed our culture, become very high consumption nation. We use a lot of apparatus in life where we are solely depending on electricity. Without electricity, we cannot survive. We cannot live a normal life, and the rest. Yeah. So as a result, we have malnutrition. We have a lot of issues, including mental health. And recently, the most obvious that many people try to relate to the whole thing is COVID-19. Yeah, this is the best example on the failure of planetary health, so that COVID-19 became very prominent. And there will be more disasters or more infectious diseases in the future. A kind of COVID-19 is predicted by many people because of the lack of certain components in our planetary health that induce such infectious diseases to be prominent. Let's talk about what's happening during Conference of Parties 26 in Glasgow. There are two major institutions that we have to understand. One is United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change. That's the major organization under United Nations. And IPCC is a dedicated research group. They are not doing research, but they are grouping researchers around the globe to summarize issues related to climate change. And they have scenarios. Say, for example, this is the latest assessment report 6 in August 2021 released. SSP is socio-economic pathway. 8.5 means that the temperature is high to be projected if you are not doing any, enough. It can be reduced to SSP 1 with temperature between or within 1.4 degrees Celsius increase. At the moment, according to assessment report 6, the increase in temperature of 1.1 degrees Celsius is anthropogenic. It means that it is not natural. It is induced by activities by human development since the year 1900. Yeah. So with the current policies through NDC that we submitted in 2016, the temperature will rise up to 2.7 according to Carbon Action Tracker. According to UNEP, or according to IEA, International Energy Agency, it's about 2.6. Recently, we have renewed our commitment through Nationally Determined Contribution, or NDC. With that, it is decreased a bit to 2.3 if you look into the framework. Yeah. So what we are trying to do now is to push further by having what we call a net zero projection. So this is what many countries refine their NDC. NDC can be refined every 5 years. So we refine our NDC in July this year. So many countries doing the same. So what is the impact? As we know, if we increase by 1% or 0.8%, the effect will be hit with ocean warming, sea level rise, increased earthquake. It's never happened in the history of Malaysia for many hundred years, earthquake. But recently in 2015, earthquake happened in Ranau, in Sabah, and it occurs almost every month now in Sabah. Yeah, so many people try to relate that to global warming. Despite global warming is considered debatable among meteorologists, because when we talk to climatologists or meteorologists, they are looking at the time span of 50 years to call it a change in climates. But among scientists, propose that this is due to climate change. If 1%, 1 degree Celsius increase, many island states will be underwater. With 2 degrees Celsius, it will be disaster water supply, for example. That's very obvious. During COP26 in Glasgow, the Minister, Datuk Seri Tuan Ibrahim Tuan Man, has mentioned that Malaysia has updated our nationally determined contribution with 45% GHG reduction. So it's no longer carbon emission, but GHG reduction. And we have chosen from 3 to 7 components or substances. So that's very big. And Malaysia is putting that GHG in economy-wide. It means that all economic sectors. In some countries, NDC is limited to energy-related. They will try to reduce GHG in transportation and power generation, say for example. But in Malaysia, we said that this is an economy-wide GHG reduction. So if you look into the commitment given by countries through NDC, NDC is a voluntarily commitment by all party countries of Paris Agreement. So you can have NDC ambitious, but you will be asked to comply. Yeah, that is the issue, and we can talk about it later. Minimum 50% forest cover in Malaysia at the moment. Forest cover is 55.6%. That is hutan simpan. Many countries not even have 30%. So if we look into pledges that people sign in COP26, one of them that Malaysia refused to sign is pledges on reforestation, because the target is 30%. So if you were to sign, people thought that we want to reduce from 50% or 55.6% to 30%, which is negative to what Malaysia is trying to do. Zero waste to disposal landfill, zero solid waste to disposal landfill. Carbon market by Q3 2022, 2050 earliest for net zero GHG emission. Yeah, and 2030 government's fleet with no diesel, petrol. ESG policy, environment, social and governance policy for listed corporation. So this is very ambitious target. As a non-Annex 1 country for the Paris Agreement, this is very, very ambitious. This is probably as ambitious as many Annex 1 countries. Annex 1 are developed countries. Then they should support from financial, technical, as well as human resource. Let me talk about what is related to water resources. In our deliberation on biennial update report, we have to submit 2 reports to UNFCCC. One is biennial update report. Every 2 years we update. The second one is what we call as NDC. NDC is our commitment. Biennial update report is to report on our commitment. Yeah. So in our biennial update report, we keep on emphasizing on 2 aspects. One is mitigation. Mitigation is how to help to reduce carbon emission or GHG emission. This is through renewable energy, energy efficiency, transportation, to be as announced by Minister of Finance. For next year, a special incentive for EV cars, EV charging facilities as well, recycling activities, biogas recovery from palm oil, and forestry. But adaptation is when we realize that climate change occur and we have to be prepared. And number 1 for Malaysia is addressing flood. So next year, say for example, in our budget, it will be dedicated 2 billion to JPS, Jabatan Pengairan dan Saliran, to address flood. And we have to understand that flooding issues in Malaysia is not only addressed by JPS. JPS only addressing big, the main river and big drainage system. The internal drainage system within the neighborhood is by the local authority or PBT. It's not by JPS. Often when we face the issue of flooding, we thought that JPS is to be blamed. Actually not. Yeah, JPS is only in charge of big drainage system, the main drainage system. And on top of the JPS, local authorities, we have also Department of Works or JKR. They are managing or providing facilities for drainage system along the highways, federal highways. It's not only the big highways under Lembaga Lebuh Raya, but the small, we call it federal roads in Malaysia. Yeah, so that is the site drainage system is provided by JKR. And on top of that, we have also special agencies such as LADA, KADA on irrigation, and is to be coupled with drainage as well. Yeah, in places where agricultural is taking place. And we have coastal protection in Malaysia, a big thing, water and food security and public health. On top of that, we realized that water for development is mainly for people, for access to safe, adequate and affordable water supply, water for food and rural development, water for economic development, and water for the environment. This is to ensure that we have natural flow regimes to ensure biodiversity and cultural heritage along the mitigation of the water-related hazards. This is flood in Malaysia, mainly monsoonal flood, flash flood, and coastal flood. Sometime in Johor, recently in Johor Bahru, especially in Kampung Pasir, flash flood occurs together with coastal flood. And it is going to be problematic when we have solid waste, debris, old furnitures, tires, whatever in our drainage system. So flash flood and coastal flood will be big disaster for that kind of areas. Yeah, so make sure that our drainage system is to be clean, because the design of our drainage system is mainly to cater flash flood and coastal flood together, with very little margin for interruptions by, say for example, solid waste or debris or falling trees and whatnot. Yeah. So this is what we know. I don't want to comment on this, but this is what's happening in many parts of the world. Whenever floods occur, the first report that I will be receiving and the minister will be receiving will be the type of the floods, whether this is monsoonal flood or flash flood or coastal flood. And the officer from the ID will easily mention that this is flash flood plus coastal flood. This is when we have big disaster happening. To overcome that, we have strategic planning activities. We have also non-structural measures and what we call National River Trail Program, DSK. Please read this. You can use the barcode on environmental sustainability in Malaysia. I'm so sorry, this is still the former Deputy Minister of CASA. He is now Deputy Minister, Ministry of Higher Education. But I want to zoom into what we mentioned. We plan to collaboratively enhance the planetary health, which all of us depend on. The philosophy of the ministry or of the environmental sustainability in Malaysia is based on planetary health. It's not limited to one area, say for example, related to hydrosphere, related to atmosphere. No, we take it overall, atmospheric, hydrospheric, lithospheric, and biospheric components of the environment. So the non-structural measures consist of floodplain management, flood forecasting and warning system, flood mapping, land use planning, educational awareness, and development planning. I just go some of them. This is what we call national water balance management system. The outcome is for us to forecast drought between 2 to 12 months and drought warning in 14 days. So that ensures our water supply is not disrupted. At the same time, we have enough water in our river for biodiversity purposes. NAWAP has been national water balance. This is national water balance. They call it NAWAP. Has been completed for Sungai Muda, Sungai Bernam, Sungai Melaka, Sungai Kedah, Sungai Kelantan, Sungai Kelang, and Sungai Similajau. We are now working on Sungai Perlis, Sungai Selang, Sungai Johor, Sedeli, Muar, Pahang, Sungai Kuantan, Sungai Padas, and the rest. You can see that. What is the benefit? We consolidate information on real-time rainfall, water levels, and flows. And it could be short, 14 days, and long-term rainfall forecasting. Model to predict subsequent catchment and dam inflows. We know when we want to release water. Sometimes we know that water is still available and dam is to be enhanced in terms of volumes. Models to predict short-term impact of dam releases and on water levels. Water demand and dam release scenario to aid demand supply balancing and user configurable reporting tools. So this is very important. On top of that, we have also hybrid off-river augmented storage. This is going to be very prominent in 12th Malaysian plan. We don't call it HORAS, we call it off-river storage. It is dedicated and it's a slightly different design. In Malay, we call it TAPS, Takungan Air Pinggir Sungai. Is to increase yield and raw water storage during dry season or low river flow. So in this case, HORAS in Sungai Selangor, it is not connected to the intake of water treatment plant. It will go back to the river. The new design of taps will be directed to the treatment plant. This is what we are trying to do, similar to the one in ORS Labu and ORS or TAPS Rasau that we are planning to do now. On non-structural measures, erosion and sedimentation control plan, we have MASMA and we have also MS 2526 and we have also guideline for erosion and sediment control Malaysia. This is very important. We are in the process of trying to refine this to ensure that it can be used for other sectors. So in the future, we try to be as bold as if EIA is to be approved, they must comply with article or items numbers so and so in MASMA. Yeah, so that's what the officers of JPS is trying to do now. This is urban stormwater management practices in Malaysia. MASMA version 3 is under deliberation. I think most of us know, and some of us involved in the making of the first MASMA in UTM, mainly on quantity control, quality control, erosion and sediment control, operation and maintenance, and sustainability. I think Putrajaya is the best example where MASMA is fully practiced. So finally, I'm going to talk about National River Trails Program. This is to develop river trails of various kinds. Our target is 10,000 kilometers nationwide by 2030. This is to address socio-environmental challenges through sustainable management and use of nature in order to preserve and conserve beauty of the river while controlling our river from pollution risks and activities. Often when we receive reports on pollution incidences, it is due to the fact that that very river has, I mean, put it this way, it's difficult for people to access the river. So as a result, people can pollute it very easily. They can dump everything at the riverbank. By having our national river trails, we expect people to enjoy the scenery. People will cycle, hiking, and by doing that, we are hoping that it will discourage or it will monitor the river ecosystem. Yeah, people can take photos of pollution occurred or pollution is going to be happening, and then make it viral so that people feel that it is being monitored by people themselves. So by 2023, we hope that we can complete the first 1,000 kilometer. And this is with various qualities, not one quality. And many in the states now propose various kind of river trails for ecotourism. So ensure the long-term viability and attractiveness by limiting activities that could pollute it, creating sense of accountability among the numerous stakeholders, encourage nature-based activities among locals, area community, and encourage activities like river ecotourism, as I mentioned earlier. So with that, I thank everyone for this opportunity for me to share my perspective on water resources, especially post COP26. Thank you. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Okay, thank you very much to Yang Berbahagia Datuk Sri Dr. Zaini bin Ujang for giving such an enlightening talk today. I really hope all of us will benefit a lot from his talk this morning. Now then, without further ado, I would like to call upon Professor Dr. Sobri Harun again to introduce our second keynote speaker. Professor Sobri, for the second time, the virtual floor is yours.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi and very good morning to everyone. It is a great pleasure for me to introduce our speaker today, Yang Berbahagia Datuk Engineer Nur Hisham bin Ghazali, who is going to deliver the second keynote. Datuk Engineer Nur Hisham is the Director of the Department of Irrigation and Drainage, Malaysia, Ministry of Environment and Water. He holds a BSc in Civil Engineering from California State University and a master's degree in Coastal and Maritime Engineering from University Technology Malaysia. Engineer Nur Hisham is a fellow of the Institution of Engineers with over 30 years experience in coastal and flood management, and currently oversees the National Program on Forecasting and Mitigating Water-Related Disasters. He is also the Malaysian Intergovernmental Hydrological Program and the Regional Humid Tropics Hydrology and Water Resources Center for Southeast Asia and the Pacific Chairman. Engineer Nur Hisham is actively involved in various non-governmental organizations. He is the co-chair of the Malaysian Committee of Large Dam, MICOL, chair of the Malaysian Water Partnership, MyWP, and chair of the Malaysian Stormwater Organisation, MSO. On the international stage, he is a vice president in the International Commission on Irrigation and Drainage. He hopes to position the ID Malaysia as a leading organization in the development of Malaysia's next generation of water resources engineers. I'm pleased to welcome Yang Berbahagia Datuk Engineer Nur Hisham Ghazali to deliver his keynote. Thank you.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning and salam sejahtera. Yang berhormat Datuk Seri Tuan Ibrahim bin Tuan Man, Ministry of Environment and Water Malaysia. Yang berbahagia Datuk Seri Engineer Dr. Zaini bin Ujang, Secretary General, Ministry of Environment and Water Malaysia. Distinguished speakers, Master of Ceremony and presenters, ladies and gentlemen. First of all, I would like to express my appreciation to the organizers of the 5th International Conference on Water Resources, ICWR, for inviting me to present the keynote paper. I would like to congratulate the Department of Irrigation and Drainage Malaysia for their successful collaboration with University Technology Malaysia in organizing this international conference. Ladies and gentlemen, it is predicted that in 2030, nearly half of the global population will experience water scarcity. Malaysian population is estimated to be at 39 million by then. What is alarming to the statistic is that the volume of water consumption demand also continues parallel to the population growth. Based on studies, the water consumption in Malaysia is 300 liters per capita per day, which is 45% higher than what is recommended by the World Health Organization. Data from the various studies would suggest that without proper conservation and sustainable practice on environmental resources management, water scarcity would not just become a global issue, but a catastrophe waiting to happen to all of us in less than 10 years. The growth of population and mismanagement of resources would lead to a situation where demand for water would exceed the readily available supply. And climate change factors may well exacerbate the situation. I will go through the socio-economic factors that are most reliant on the effectiveness of water resource management. Firstly, domestic and portable water supply, which includes indoor and outdoor use at dwellings, primarily for drinking purposes. Next would be the water is also the main medium of transportation and navigation. Countries benefit from cheap transport of goods, often in bulk, along rivers and man-made canals, whose water body is drawn from rivers and seas. Moving on, water is essential in manufacturing industry. It is needed as a raw material in some industries, such as brewing, and for making drinks. Water is also used as processed material in the production of steel. Meanwhile, in the food production, water is used as a medium for waste removal. Water is indispensable for energy production, such as hydroelectricity generation. It is used also as a coolant in thermal electricity generating stations. In the recent years, ecotourism has been a major contributor to the economy. Clean water bodies such as waterfalls, rivers, and lakes are an obvious attraction for tourism. These days, activities such as rafting, boating, cruising, or camping are becoming more popular. Water also plays a significant role in religious and cultural rituals. Every culture and religion has its own way of representing the value of water. Water is thus an important element in many ceremonies and practices such as in Islam, Buddhism, Christianity, and animism. In agriculture currently accounts for over 70% of all freshwater withdrawals globally. Agricultural water allows us to grow fruits and vegetables, which is an important element of our food. Irrigation and pesticide and fertilizer treatments all demand agricultural water. Aquaculture or fish farming is the controlled process of cultivating aquatic organisms for human consumption. It's a similar concept to agriculture, but with fish instead of plants or livestock. This is to fulfill the increasing demand of consumers for a sustainable seafood industry. Access to facilities for the safe disposal of human waste, feces, and urine is referred to as sanitation. These include the ability to maintain sanitary conditions through garbage collection, industrial or hazardous waste management, and wastewater treatment and disposal, among other services. However, this is becoming increasingly unpopular as water should be used for more vital usage, such as drinking. Natural ecosystems, including those depending on fresh or estuarine water resources, are preserved as the bottom line need of sustainable development. Water management is becoming increasingly difficult as developing countries' economies improve, and Malaysia is no exception. We realize that synergy between agencies involved in water resources management and water services is critical. Hence, we have merged them under the Ministry of Environment and Water. The National Water Resources Policy, published by the federal government in 2012, serves as a roadmap for state governments with jurisdiction over land and water. This is to ensure that the domestic agenda is adequately implemented. Malaysia is committed to the target of becoming a carbon neutral nation by as early as 2050. Accelerating the growth of green economy, boosting energy sustainability efforts, and transforming the water sector must remain at the core of the country's socio-economic development. Environmental, social, and governance principles will be considered by the government in its decision-making, and they have been incorporated into the 12th Malaysia Plan program, which was planned from 2021 to 2025. To support this, the Department of Irrigation and Drainage has implemented structural and non-structural measures in its water resources engineering programs. In the 12th Malaysia Plan, the department, as one of the government agencies under the Ministry of Environment and Water, will emphasize the environmental enhancement through a concept of integrated water resources management called eco-hydrology. Eco-hydrology is a combination of the two words ecology and hydrology. It advances the idea that green growth is equally important for development, sustainability, and resilience. The eco-hydrology concept will add to the adaptive and mitigative response to the global impact of climate change under the 5-year plan. Eco-hydrology is a dual regulation that combines components of hydrology and biota with engineering principles to develop nature-based solutions. Ladies and gentlemen, as one of the two technical departments in Malaysia, the DID strategic plan starting from 2021 to 2025 comprises of 5 thrusts as shown in these slides. We will seek to strengthen water and environmental security to drive the country's economic growth. We will empower engineering services in water-related disaster risk reduction. Empowering technical expertise to provide excellent engineering services and to cultivate integrity, quality, and effective service towards excellent organization. And last but not least, social inclusion in the decision-making process. Global climate change has resulted in significant natural disasters such as floods, droughts, and sea level rise. These 3 threats have forced us to think even harder into creating sustainable engineering solutions and methods that apply the concept of eco-hydrology and take into account future impacts. By mainstreaming eco-hydrology into engineering solution, biodiversity and natural heritage can be preserved, especially when implementing projects in sensitive sites, and in turn create ecotourism such as Langkawi Geopark in Kedah and Lake Chini in Pahang. Traditional hard engineering methods can no longer provide the best solutions. Engineering solutions in the form of nature-based solutions need to be highlighted to create harmony and resilience between development projects and nature. Drought are seen to be more prolonged in recent years. Drought monitoring programs have been initiated since early 2001, and it was established following the severe drought incident in 1998, which particularly affected 1.8 million residents in the southern part of Kuala Lumpur and the towns of Bangi and Kajang. These towns rely on the Upper Langat River catchment for their source of water. The drought also made its mark in other areas such as Penang, Kedah, Kelantan, Sarawak, and Sabah. Following the incident, DID has initiated the National Water Balance Management System, or NAWAPS, that assesses the water balance in selected river basins. The system assists relevant agencies to make early preparation to face drought events. Ladies and gentlemen, an accompanying website has been developed to enable convenient access to the water balance data and situation in the river basins. The DAWATS program is one of the key non-structural measures in DID's strategy. It incorporates maps of high-risk areas of drought. It offers responsive options against droughts. DID, being responsible for water resources management, disseminates drought information to various water-related agencies 2 months ahead of time, allowing them to take early action. Enhancement of drought monitoring has been carried out, which encompasses increasing the numbers of rainfall and water level stations, as well as improving the techniques for drought analysis, identification, monitoring, and dissemination. Water levels in major rivers and dams are continuously monitored and controlled during the drought periods. Ladies and gentlemen, in project implementation, design philosophy will be guided by 4 overarching principles. They are building with nature, make room for water, bring back the beaches, and finally, creating for resilience. The DID projects and programs will also allow opportunities for innovation, mainly in water resources management. Allow me to elaborate further on the 4 overarching strategies. Nature, we seek to bring back nature to our water systems. Along the coastline, we have designed nearshore breakwaters using concrete blocks, as well as geotextile tubes, in order to encourage mangrove replanting and rejuvenation within the protection provided by those structures. We have also introduced Plan Induk Sadaran Mesra Alam, which is a comprehensive guide and instruction towards designing or planning for city-wide drainage systems. Next in the list is making room for water. Making room for water is essentially allowing water to fill existing lowlands and hence becoming storage for floodwaters. And there is no sense in filling up swamps for development, because then we will have to channel floodwaters elsewhere. Hence, making room for water encourages the utilization of natural terrain in channeling water and detaining water. We have also introduced NAWAPS, which is a system that checks into the balance of water in a river basin. It is one of the non-structural systems that we have introduced. And all it does is that to take an account of water available in the river basin, weigh it against the requirements of sectors and whatever industries that require the water, so that we ensure that supply and demand is always matched. Next, bringing back the beaches is another of the 4 strategies that we are introducing. And in bringing back the beaches, we try to preserve natural beaches so that the space that it provides can be utilized for recreation and also for economic pursuits. Sand must be present in order to provide stability to the coast. And we should not be encouraging activities that remove sand from the coastal system. Last but not least, in creating for resilience, what we aim to do is to build better and to anticipate or make projections of how the trend of future disasters would be, and then making sure that what we build today can serve against bigger or even larger events of the future. While we are not able to exactly quantify what is in store, we could at least be prepared to work beyond what we have experienced. In creating for resilience, we attempt to build better structures for the benefit of future generations. We have experienced several major flood events in the past, but we must now build in anticipation of bigger events in the future. Hence, we may even raise our standard design criteria of 100 years annual average recurrence interval to perhaps 150 or 200. Adoption of integrated river basin management plans as a tool for water resources and environmental management is paramount to transform the water sector into a catalyst for national economic growth. Land use, development, and water resources are all integrated in the IRBM. The integration will ensure that various parties' interests and natural environments are adequately managed, as well as contribute to our aspirations towards sustainable development goals. We should be aware that the sustainability of economic development can only be achieved with the assurance of adequate water resources through the river basin management. The implementation progress achievements shall be monitored and measured through the proposal program, which will be developed in the 12 Malaysia Plan, which is called the River Health Index, or in Malay, Kesihatan Sungai, by knowing how rivers are doing. Moving down to the coast, the shoreline is the most downstream component in a river reach. Restoring the functionality of the beach is one of the targets of the DID's coastal protection function. Shoreline protection is supported by the development of integrated shoreline management plans, and the ISMP provides information, strategy, and guidelines for development along coastlines. DID has pioneered ecological solutions along the coast, such as the use of geotextile breakwaters to restore mangroves along the coast. In making room for water, this component has been covered through the environmental friendly drainage manual, or Manual Sarian Mesra Alam, and it is now a compulsory guide for all development projects, and it is covered under the Act 133 of the Roads, Drains and Buildings Act 1974. The coordination between the two ministries, which is the Ministry of Environment and Water and the Ministry of Local Government, took place since 2001 for the development approval process under local authorities. Drainage infrastructure design based on Manual Sarian Mesra Alam emphasizes water quality and quantity control. The fulcrum of this concept is control at source. The effectiveness of Manual Sarian Mesra Alam can be seen after more than 20 years. These days, we can see the emergence of housing estates which have incorporated the MASMA concept. Ponds and lakes have been made into detention ponds and also as a recreational facility for the public and the residents of the housing estates. The MASMA stormwater concept, which is control at source, is outlined and strengthened by the Environmental Friendly Drainage Master Plan, or the Malay acronym of PISMA, and also the Malaysian Standard Urban Stormwater Management MS2526, or MSUSM. The MSUSM is a guideline for water resources engineering design infrastructure that can assist in ecological conservation, as emphasized in the eco-hydrology concept. Ladies and gentlemen, in conclusion, whatever water-related challenges, the changing climate of the present and what the future has in store for us can only be countered with a concerted effort in bringing strategies into actionable plans. Resilience of a society towards the known water-related disasters begins with preparedness in multiple aspects. For the DID, as the technical department entrusted with water resources security, the first step is to comprehensively understand the nature of the hazards and the data that serves to evaluate them. In addressing these hazards, we find that the structural solutions we have deployed often work to destroy natural ecosystems. We have decided to stop this. We have decided that ecosystems should not be compromised in the expense of engineering. The advent of IRBM and ISMP was the initial move to incorporate holistic resource management and non-structural solutions to address the hazards of flooding, drought, and erosion. We have followed it up with control at source in our development control and mitigating impacts of construction. Eco-hydrology is now being brought into the mainstream to further ensconce the importance of building with nature into engineering. Nature has its own remedies. Our preparedness can be enhanced when engineers are able to incorporate natural solutions into engineering and the synchronizing of structural and non-structural actions. This will require innovation, forward thinking, and resourcefulness. A more resilient society will arise when the engineering it deploys also preserves its environment, life, and its natural resources. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much to Yang Berbahagia, Datuk Engineer Nur Hisham bin Muhammad Ghazali for the great sharing. Then we will resume live at 10:20 a.m. with our opening ceremony session. This will be telecasted live and open to public view. See you all soon at 10:20 a.m.
Kami akan berehat sebentar dan akan menyambung semula secara langsung pada jam 10.20 pagi untuk majlis perasmian ICWR 2021. Ini akan disiarkan secara langsung dan terbuka untuk tontonan umum. Dijemput para penonton sekalian untuk terus bersama-sama kami selepas ini. Terima kasih.
smile away. The soul of Asia, the essence of Asia. In this land where dreams come true, Malaysia. This land is beautiful, it steals your heart away. This land is paradise, only a smile away. The soul of Asia, the essence of Asia. In this land where dreams come true, Malaysia. This land is beautiful, it steals your heart away. This land is paradise, only a smile away. The soul of Asia, the essence of Asia. In this land where dreams come true, Malaysia. This land is beautiful, it steals your heart away. This land is paradise, only a smile away. The soul of Asia, the essence of Asia. In this land where dreams come true, Malaysia. Malaysia, truly Asia. You love the land we have, different races everywhere. The soul of Asia is surely here, this beautiful Malaysia. You will love the colors we have, where the sun loves to shine, and sandy beaches and clear blue waters and smiling friendly faces. This land is beautiful, it steals your heart away. This land is paradise, only a smile away. The soul of Asia, the essence of Asia. In this land where dreams come true, Malaysia. This land is beautiful, it steals your heart away. This land is paradise, only a smile away. The soul of Asia, the essence of Asia. In this land where dreams come true, Malaysia.
having a feast, show you the flavors of north, make our way down to the south, now you know what we're about. Hey, now, faces and places to know. Hey, now, thousands of places to explore. Hey, now, you gotta see to believe. We're ready to go. We're ready to go. Come on, gotta make a move to get there right now. Somewhere nice that we can get away. Better than the ordinary day. You're my paradise. Let me take you to the places you've been wishing. Catching sunsets when we ride the waves. Swear it's gonna steal our hearts away. You're my paradise. Gotta move, gotta get you there. Somewhere nice we can get away. Wait, let me take you to places you've been wishing for. Hey, now, faces and places to know. Hey, now, thousands of places to explore. Hey, now, you gotta see to believe. We're ready to go. We're ready to go. Come on, gotta make a move to get there right now. Somewhere nice that we can get away. Better than the ordinary day. You're my paradise. Let me take you to the places you've been wishing. Catching sunsets when we ride the waves. Swear it's gonna steal our hearts away. You're my paradise. We could be swimming among the lemon backs. Down to where the cars at. Know where we're from, where we at. Can't describe where my feelings at. Truly in emotion, you just gotta see. Truly Asia in this vision, where I be. We be flying to the land beneath the wind. We be tracking through the jungle, this is where I wanna be. Hey, now, faces and places to know. Hey, now, thousands of things to explore. Now, you gotta see to believe. We're ready to go. We're ready to go. My paradise, my paradise. Oh, 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 come on, gotta make a move to get there right now. Somewhere nice so we can get away. Better than the ordinary day. You're my paradise. Let me take you to the places you've been wishing. Catching sunsets as we ride the waves. Swear it's gonna steal our hearts away. You're my paradise. My paradise, my paradise. You're my paradise. My paradise, my paradise. You're my paradise. My paradise, my paradise. My paradise, my paradise. Malaysia, truly Asia.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Sebelum kita memulakan majlis perasmian ICWR 2021 pada pagi ini, suka untuk saya menyampaikan serangkap pantun untuk semua. Adat kita menyambut tetamu, salam dihulur, mesra bertemu. Hamparkan tikar, lebarkan pintu. Pemanis bicara, aluan didahulu. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh dan
Salam sejahtera. Saya Nur Atira binti Muhammad dan
saya Muzaffar bin Zainal Abidin. Yang berhormat Datuk Seri Tuan Ibrahim Tuan Man, Minister of Environment and Water, Malaysia,
Yang berbahagia Datuk Seri Engineer Dr. Zaini bin Ujang, Secretary General Ministry of Environment and Water.
Yang berbahagia Profesor Datuk Teknologis Dr. Ahmad Fauzi bin Ismail, the Vice Chancellor of University Technology Malaysia.
Yang berbahagia Datuk Engineer Nur Hisham bin Muhammad Ghazali, Director General, Department of Irrigation and Drainage Malaysia.
Yang berusaha Profesor Teknologis Dr. Ruzairi Abdul Rahim, Profesor Dr. Nur Hazilan bin Muhammad Noor, Associate Professor Engineer Technologis Dr. Muhammad Hidayat bin Jamal from Faculty of Engineering UTM, and yang berusaha Tuan Haji Muhammad Nazif bin Daud from Unit Tropic Center, Department of Irrigation and Drainage, Malaysia.
Datuk-datuk, professors, doctors, engineers, respected and honorable guests, speakers, presenters, and attendees. It's with my great pleasure on behalf of the organizing team to welcome you all to
The 5th International Conference on Water Resources 2021.
Also known as ICWR 2021. Untuk makluman, Yang berhormat Datuk Seri, Yang berbahagia Datuk Seri, Datuk-datuk, serta tuan-tuan dan puan-puan yang dihormati sekalian. Persidangan ini merupakan persidangan yang julung-julung kalinya diadakan sepenuhnya di dalam talian sebagai mematuhi prosedur pelan pemulihan negara yang sedang dilaksanakan oleh pihak kerajaan. Untuk makluman hadirin dan hadirat sekalian, persidangan pada kali ini akan berlangsung selama 3 hari, bermula dari 23 November sehingga 25 November 2021. Sebanyak tidak kurang dari 70 kertas kerja utama akan dibentangkan serta 10 kertas pembentangan ceramah jemputan. Pada kesempatan ini, pihak penganjur ingin merakamkan setinggi-tinggi penghargaan kepada semua penceramah jemputan, pembentang kertas kerja serta peserta persidangan. Jutaan terima kasih juga diucapkan kepada Majlis Bandaraya Shah Alam atau MBSA dan juga ICWR Sdn Bhd selaku penaja platinum dan emas bagi ICWR 2021 serta semua penaja lain yang telah menyumbang serta menjayakan persidangan kita pada kali ini.
Bagi memberkati majlis pada pagi ini, mari sama-sama kita mengaminkan bacaan doa yang akan dipimpin oleh Dr. Muhammad Khairul Idlan bin Muhammad dari Sekolah Kejuruteraan Awam Universiti Teknologi Malaysia. Majlis dengan segala hormatnya mempersilakan.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alamin. Hamdan yuafi ni'amahu wa yukafi'u mazidah. Ya Rabbana lakal hamdu kama yanbaghi li jalali wajhikal karim wa 'azimi sultanik. Allahumma salli wa sallim ala sayyidina Muhammad salatan tunjina biha min jami'il ahwal wal afat wa taqdi lana biha jami'al hajat wa tutahhiruna biha min jami'is sayyiat wa tarfa'una biha 'indaka a'la ad-darajat wa tuballighuna biha aqsal ghayat min jami'il khairat fil hayati wa ba'dal mamat wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Segala puji hanya untukmu ya Allah. Selawat dan salam ke atas junjungan besar Nabi Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, juga kepada sekalian keluarga dan para sahabat. Kami bermohon kepadamu segala kebaikan pada hari ini, kemenangan, pertolongan, hidayah, barakah dan petunjuknya. Allahumma aslih lana dunyana alladhi huwa ismatu amrina wa aslih lana dunyana allati fiha ma'ashuna وأصلح لنا آخرتنا التي فيها معادنا واجعل الحياة زيادة لنا في كل خير واجعل الموت راحة لنا من كل شر. Ya Allah, ya Tuhan kami, peliharakanlah agama kami yang bertindak sebagai pelindung urusan kami. Peliharalah dunia kami yang menjadi tempat kehidupan kami. Peliharalah akhirat kami yang menjadi tempat kembalinya kami. Jadikanlah kehidupan ini sebagai penambah kepada segala kebaikan dan jadikan kematian sebagai kerahatan kepada kami daripada segala keburukan. Allahumma ya Rahman ya Rahim, kami berhimpun di pagi yang penuh keberkatan ini bersempena program ICWR 2021, kami bermohon dengan penuh khusyuk dan tawaduk dilimpahkan taufik dan hidayah agar majlis ini diberkati oleh-Mu ya Allah. Sucikanlah hati nurani kami agar sentiasa tulus dan ikhlas dalam usaha kami dalam melaksanakan tanggungjawab yang telah diamanahkan. Ya Allah, Ya Maliku, Ya Quddus, Ya Allah, Tuhan yang memiliki kemurahan dan rahmat, kami memohon inayah dan riayah-Mu agar mengurniakan kekuatan kepada kami untuk meneruskan iltizam dan istiqamah kami menjulang tradisi keilmuan. Tingkatkanlah kesungguhan dan ijtihad kami untuk melaksanakan tugas kami selaras dengan tuntutan agama agar mencelikkan umatnya daripada kejahilan dan kegelapan. Allahumma ja'al jam'ana hadha jam'an marhuma wa tafarruqana min ba'dihi tafarruqan ma'suma wa la taj'al fina wa la ma'ana syaqiyyan wa la mahruma ya akramal akramin. Ya Allah, jadikanlah pertemuan kami ini sebagai pertemuan yang Engkau rahmati dan perpisahan kami selepas pertemuan ini sebagai perpisahan yang terpelihara daripada sebarang dosa dan kemaksiatan. Rabbana atina min ladunka rahmah wa hayyi' lana min amrina rashada. Rabbana atina fid dunya hasanah wa fil akhirati hasanah wa qina adzaban nar. Wa sallallahu ala sayyidina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Walhamdulillahi rabbil alamin.
Amin ya rabbal alamin. Majlis merakamkan ucapan terima kasih kepada Dr. Muhammad Khairul Idlan bin Muhammad di atas bacaan doa sebentar tadi.
To begin this program, we are pleased to invite Associate Professor, Engineer Technologist Dr. Muhammad Hidayat Jamal as the Chairperson of ICWR 2021 to deliver his welcoming speech.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Salam sejahtera and a very good morning. Thank you for our Master of Ceremony. Yang berhormat Datuk Seri Tuan Ibrahim bin Tuan Man, Ministry of Environment and Water Malaysia. Yang berbahagia Datuk Seri Insinyur Dr. Zaini bin Ujang, Secretary General, Ministry of Environment and Water Malaysia. Yang berbahagia Profesor Datuk Teknologis Dr. Ahmad Fauzi bin Ismail, Vice Chancellor of University Technology Malaysia. Yang berbahagia Datuk Insinyur Nur Hisham bin Muhammad Ghazali, Director General of Department of Irrigation and Drainage Malaysia. Yang berbahagia Profesor Teknologis Dr. Rozairi bin Abdul Rahim, the Dean, Faculty of Engineering, University Technology Malaysia. Yang berusaha Profesor Dr. Nur Hazilan bin Matno, Chair, School of Civil Engineering, University Technology Malaysia. Yang berusaha Tuan Haji Muhammad Nazif bin Daud, Co-Chairpersons, Director Humid Tropic Center, Department of Irrigation and Drainage Malaysia. Honorable keynote speakers and invited speakers, our distinguished paper presenters and participants. It is my great pleasure to welcome the Minister of Environment and Water, honorable keynote speakers, eminent invited speakers, paper presenters and participants to the 5th International Conference on Water Resources 2021. This is the first time that the conference is conducted on a digital platform in line with the social distancing norm practices in Malaysia due to COVID-19 pandemic. The previous 4 series of ICWR conferences in 2009, 2012, 2015 and 2018 were organized physically in Langkawi Island. This conference is jointly organized by University Technology Malaysia, Department of Irrigation and Drainage Malaysia, and Humid Tropic Center, the Malaysian National Commission for UNESCO. This conference is also one of the Memorandum of Understanding activities between UTM and the ID. The theme for this 5th series of ICWR is Innovating for Resilience and Enhanced Preparedness to Water-Related Challenges. Along with the themes, we strive for practice by inviting 5 distinguished keynote speakers and 5 invited speakers from academics, research, and industrial background who are experts in their fields. ICWR 2021 bring together academics, scientists, engineers, researchers, water managers, government officials, and practitioners from a wide range of disciplines working on water environment and sustainability to collaborate, communicate, and share their experiences and research findings. Hence, in these 3 days, we will have 70 paper presenters who will presenting their experience and findings. This conference is the result of hard work, support, and dedication of a number of parties. I, on behalf of the co-chairman, would like to express our deep appreciation and gratitude to the task force, scientific and technical committee, staff of the School of Civil Engineering, UTM Space, and Department of Irrigation and Drainage for their hard work, who together make the conference possible. Our appreciations also goes to those who are directly or indirectly involved in ICWR 2021 for making it a successful conference. Last but not least, we also would like to thank the sponsor, supporting organizations, and various contributors for their generous support towards this conference. Special thanks to all distinguished speakers for sharing their knowledge and insights. It is our sincere hope that we will benefit from ICWR 2021 and experience memorable moments. Thank you for being here in ICWR 2021 and we value your presence. Terima kasih.
Thank you, Associate Professor, Engineer Technologist Dr. Muhammad Hidayat Jamal for the warm welcoming speech. Without further ado, the next agenda for today will be the officiating speech by the Honorable Yang Berbahagia Datuk Seri Tuan Ibrahim bin Tuan Man, Minister of Environment and Water, Malaysia.
Majlis pada pagi ini diteruskan dengan menjemput Yang Berhormat Datuk Seri Tuan Ibrahim Tuan Man, Menteri Alam Sekitar dan Air, untuk menyampaikan ucapan dan seterusnya merasmikan persidangan ICWR kelima ini. Majlis dengan penuh takzim mempersilakan.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alamin. Wassalatu wassalamu ala asyrafil anbiya'i wal mursalin. Sayyidina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Rabbi syrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wa hlul 'uqdatam min lisani yafqahu qawli. Subhanaka la ilma lana illa ma 'allamtana innaka antal alimul hakim. Wala haula wala quwwata illa billahil aliyyil azim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh dan salam sejahtera. Yang bahagia Datuk Seri Senior Dr. Zainal Ujang, Ketua Setiausaha Kementerian Alam Sekitar dan Air. Yang bahagia Datuk Senior Nur Hisham bin Muhammad Ghazali, Ketua Pengarah Jabatan Pengairan dan Saraya Malaysia. Yang bahagia Profesor Dr. Sabri bin Harun, Profesor Fakulti Kejuruteraan Universiti Teknologi Malaysia. Yang bahagia Profesor Madya and Senior Teknologis Dr. Muhammad Hidayat bin Jamal, Naib Pengerusi Pendidikan Lanjutan dan Transnasional Sekolah Kejuruteraan Awam Universiti Teknologi Malaysia. Tuan-tuan, puan-puan yang dihormati sekalian, alhamdulillah, marilah kita rafakkan kesyukuran kehadrat Allah Subhanahu wa taala atas limpah rahmatnya. Kita masih diberi nikmat iman dan Islam sehingga ke saat ini. Selawat dan salam buat junjungan besar kita Nabi Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, seluruh ahli keluarga baginda dan para sahabat, para tabi'in. Memulakan bicara, saya memetik suatu ayat daripada surah Al-Anbiya ayat ke-30. A'udzubillahi minasyaitonirrajim. Wa ja'alna minal ma'i kulli syai'in hayyan. Afala yu'minun. Maksudnya, dan kami jadikan setiap yang hidup daripada air. Adakah kamu tidak mahu beriman? Tuan-tuan dan puan-puan dirahmati Allah sekalian, air merupakan makhluk Allah yang sangat unik dan sangat istimewa. Air merupakan nadi bagi kehidupan. Dalam Islam, syariat atau kata asasnya ialah syara'a, secara literalnya atau secara bahasa bermaksud sebagai sumber air. Sebenarnya manusia memerlukan air untuk hidup fizikal manusia. Demikian juga manusia berhajat kepada panduan syarak bagi menentukan laluan dan jalan hidup tersebut. Lantaran itu, kita sebagai hamba Allah Subhanahu wa taala mestilah mengambil dan menjadikan kedua-dua sumber ini, sama ada sumber fizikal air untuk hidup kita dan sumber syarak bagi mandu kehidupan kita. Mudah-mudahan kita dipelihara oleh Allah Subhanahu wa taala. Alhamdulillah, Allah Subhanahu wa taala mengurniakan Malaysia dengan khazanah alam yang indah dan sumber air yang banyak. Kita sebagai manusia dan khalifah di bumi mesti mengurus sumber air dengan penuh amanah, cekap dan bertanggungjawab. Banyak perintah dalam Islam, antaranya yang melarang agar jangan sekali-kali kita mencemarkan sumber air dan juga tidak melakukan pembaziran. Tuan-tuan dan puan-puan sekalian, alhamdulillah kita sangat bersyukur kan diberikan peluang bersua secara dalam talian pada hari yang mulia ini, sempena persidangan antarabangsa pengurusan sumber air kelima atau the 5th International Conference on Water Resources atau ICWR bagi tahun 2021 yang bertemakan Innovating for Resilient and Enhanced Preparedness to Water-Related Challenges. Tuan-tuan dan puan-puan sekalian, selaku tuan rumah bagi tahun ini, Kerajaan Malaysia mengalu-alukan kehadiran semua pihak, termasuk jawatankuasa daripada negara Bangladesh, Kanada, China, Indonesia, Jepun dan United Kingdom. Kami mengucapkan jutaan terima kasih dan sekalung penghargaan atas komitmen padu yang diberikan dalam menjayakan ICWR pada kali ini. Secara peribadi, saya juga ingin mengucapkan terima kasih kepada penganjur yang terdiri pada Jabatan Pengairan dan Saliran JPS Malaysia, Humid Tropics Center Kuala Lumpur HTC KL dan Universiti Teknologi Malaysia UTM kerana sudi menjemput saya untuk merasmikan persidangan pada hari yang mulia ini. Tuan-tuan dan puan-puan sekalian, persidangan ICWR adalah platform percambahan idea dan tindakan untuk merealisasikan inspirasi negara ke arah sebuah negara maju dalam pengurusan sumber air. Saya difahamkan kira-kira 70 kertas kerja akan dibentangkan daripada pelbagai pihak, antaranya penggubah dasar, ahli akademik dan pemain industri di dalam dan luar negara sepanjang persidangan pada kali ini. Tema yang dipilih adalah selaras dengan pelan strategik jangka masa sederhana UNESCO bagi setiap 8 tahun di bawah Intergovernmental Hydrological Program atau IHP fasa 9 daripada tahun 2022 hingga 2029. Penyelidikan saintifik dan inovasi merupakan salah satu komponen utama yang perlu difokus dalam meningkatkan keupayaan pengurusan sumber air berdaya tahan meskipun mendepani cabaran demi memastikan kesejahteraan hidup yang lebih baik pada masa hadapan. Dunia semakin kritikal, antaranya berbagai-bagai kejadian ancaman perubahan iklim yang menuntut komitmen lebih tinggi di kalangan semua pemegang taruh. Justru kerajaan telah menggubal dan melaksanakan pelbagai strategi untuk memastikan sumber air diurus dengan mampan. Dasar Sumber Air Negara atau DSAN yang diperkenalkan sejak tahun 2012 adalah satu strategi dan tindakan penting yang menggariskan 4 fokus utama, iaitu jaminan sumber air, kelestarian sumber air, perkongsian strategi, dan pembangunan kesedaran. Sementara itu, Pelan Strategi Kelestarian Alam Sekitar 2020 hingga 2030 yang digubal oleh Kementerian Alam Sekitar dan Air adalah bukti komitmen padu ke arah merealisasikan agenda Malaysia Lestari 2030. Sebanyak 30 inisiatif dibangunkan berteraskan 4 tunjang utama, iaitu pengukuhan tadbir urus, pertumbuhan hijau, kolaborasi strategi, dan keterangkuman sosial. Tuan-tuan dirahmati Allah sekalian, Malaysia mengalami banyak kejadian bencana alam yang besar mutakhir ini seperti berlakunya banjir, kemarau dan pencemaran air. Tragedi banjir besar yang berlaku pada tahun 2014 di 8 buah negeri telah mengakibatkan kehilangan nyawa dan kemusnahan besar harta benda. Terkini banjir lumpur dan aliran puing yang mengakibatkan kejadian kepala air yang berlaku di kawasan Eko Pelancongan Gunung Jerai di Yan, Kedah adalah kejadian luar biasa yang disebabkan oleh hujan lebat yang sangat ekstrim. Pada tahun 1997 pula, negara kita pernah mengalami kemarau yang berpanjangan kerana cuaca panas dan kering yang melampau kesan daripada fenomena El Nino. Lebih parah lagi, pada tahun 2016, banyak empangan di negara kita hampir kekeringan sehingga terpaksa membuat catuan air. Begitu juga isu pencemaran air. Kita tidak akan lupa tragedi pencemaran air yang teruk di Sungai Kim Kim, Johor akibat pelepasan sisa toksit sehingga air sungai menjadi hitam dan berbau busuk. Semua bencana buruk ini harus ditangani dengan lebih berhemah berdasarkan pendekatan yang inovatif bagi mengelakkan tragedi berulang semula pada masa hadapan. Menyadari peri pentingnya kelestarian sumber air sebagai satu elemen yang menjamin pembangunan sosioekonomi di Malaysia, kita mengambil pendekatan pengurusan sumber air bersepadu atau lebih dikenali sebagai Integrated Water Resources Management (ICWR). Jabatan Pengairan dan Saliran dan Persatuan Perkongsian Air Malaysia atau My Water Partnership telah pun menerajui pelan pelaksanaan ICWRM daripada awal sehingga kini. Beberapa isu utama yang dikenal pasti dan perlu ditangani secara segera adalah isu kualiti air sungai, pengurusan kawasan tadahan dan guna tanah, kecukupan bekalan air bersih, pengurusan koridor sungai dan tanah lembap, biodiversity, kemarau, pengukuhan institusi dan cabaran alam sekitar. Kita optimis pelaksanaan ICWRM ini akan membantu negara mencapai tadbir urus yang baik dan cekap. Selain itu, Mesyuarat Majlis Air Negara selaku forum tertinggi di antara kerajaan persekutuan dan negeri dalam membincangkan isu-isu berkaitan pengurusan air telah mengesyorkan supaya semua negeri menggunakan pelan pengurusan pantai bersepadu dan pelan pengurusan lembangan sungai bersepadu. Kombinasi tersebut akan membantu menyelesaikan pelbagai isu sumber air secara efektif dan secara mampan. Pihak kementerian juga telah memperkenalkan inisiatif Denai Sungai Kebangsaan atau DSK bagi memastikan kawasan reserve sungai bebas daripada aktiviti pencemaran. Dengan dukungan pihak komuniti, pelbagai program sebenarnya boleh dilaksanakan seperti penyelidikan kualiti air, kualiti sungai, gotong royong, kutip sampah sambil kita beriadah atau kudah, aktiviti pendidikan sungai, penanaman pokok, penyediaan landscape dan berasaskan nature-based solution sebagai jalan penyelesaian kepada masalah yang sedang kita hadapi pada waktu ini. Tuan-tuan dan puan-puan dirahmati sekalian, besar harapan saya agar semua pihak bersama dan berganding bahu dalam memastikan kelestarian pengurusan sumber air untuk dinikmati oleh generasi hari ini dan generasi yang akan datang. Sesungguhnya ini adalah amanah yang cukup berat untuk kita laksanakan. InsyaAllah, Semoga persidangan ini berjalan lancar dan beroleh manfaat kepada semua pihak. Dengan lafaz Bismillahirrahmanirrahim, yang saya dengan ini merasmikan persidangan antarabangsa pengurusan sumber air kali kelima yang bertemakan Innovating for Resilient and Enhanced Preparedness to Water-Related Challenges. Terima kasih banyak. Semoga pertemuan kita dan perbincangan ini akan membuahkan manfaat yang sangat banyak untuk kita semua. Siru ala barakatillah. Sekian, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh dan salam sejahtera.
Majlis merakamkan jutaan terima kasih kepada Yang Berhormat Menteri di atas kesudian Datuk Seri untuk merasmikan persidangan sebentar tadi. Seterusnya, majlis dengan sukacitanya menjemput para hadirin sekalian untuk menonton montaj International Conference on Water Resources 2021 yang telah disediakan. With that, ladies and gentlemen, marks the official beginning of our 5th International Conference on Water Resources, or ICWR 2021, with the theme of Innovating for Resilience and Enhanced Preparedness to Water-Related Challenges. That also marks the end of our live session for today. Do join us during the closing ceremony on the 25th of November. To our ICWR 2021 participants, I have an announcement to make. Please do stay to follow our parallel conference session. The information on how to join those sessions has been informed to you via email. Also, do visit the ICWR 2021 platform for more detailed information about the exhibition, such as sponsor, publications, and etc. Participants may also edit their profiles on the platform. Our first parallel sessions will start at 11:30 a.m. Looking forward to see all of you there, and I wish you all have a very fruitful session.
We hope you will be able to gain new information, insight, and knowledge from our conference. See you all again on the noon of 25th November. Till then, signing off by Minor Atira and
I'm Muzaffar.
Thank you and see you in a couple of days. Bye.
You will love the land we have, different races everywhere. The soul of Asia is surely here, this beautiful Malaysia. You will love the colors we have, where the sun loves to shine, and sandy beaches and clear blue waters and smiling friendly faces. This land is beautiful. It steals your heart away. This land is paradise, only a smile away. The soul of Asia, the essence of Asia. In this land where dreams come true, Malaysia. This land is beautiful. It steals your heart away. This land is paradise, only a smile away. The soul of Asia, the essence of Asia. In this land where dreams come true, Malaysia.
100 years old, we could eat out. Down as we look up to the stars. We could be having a feast, show you the flavors of north. Make our way down to the south. Now you know what we're about. Hey, now, faces and places to know. Hey, now, that was a place to explore. Hey, now, you gotta see to believe. We're ready to go. We're ready to go. Come on, gotta make a move to get there right now. Somewhere nice so we can get away. Better than the ordinary day. You're my paradise. Let me take you to the places you've been wishing. Catching sunsets when we ride the waves. Swear it's gonna steal our hearts away. You're my paradise. Gotta move, gotta get you there. Somewhere nice we can get away. Let me take you to places you've been wishing for. Hey, now, faces and places to know. Hey, now, that was a place to explore. Hey, now, you gotta see to believe. We're ready to go. We're ready to go. Come on, gotta make a move to get there right now. Somewhere nice so we can get away. Better than the ordinary day. You're my paradise. Let me take you to the places you've been wishing. Catching sunsets when we ride the waves. Swear it's gonna steal our hearts away. You're my paradise. We could be swimming among the lumberjacks. Down to where the cars at. Know where we're from, where we at. Can't describe where I'm feeling that. Truly in the ocean, you just gotta see. Truly Asia in this vision, where I be. We be flying to the land beneath the wind. We be trekking through the jungle. This is where I wanna be. Hey, now, faces and places to know. Hey, now, thousands of things to explore. Now, you gotta see to believe. We're ready to go. We're ready to go. My paradise, my paradise. Oh, paradise, my paradise. Oh, my paradise, my paradise. Oh, my paradise, my paradise. Oh, come on, gotta make a move to get there right now. Somewhere nice so we can get away. Better than the ordinary day. You're my paradise. Let me take you to the places you've been wishing. Catching sunsets when we ride the waves. Swear it's gonna steal our hearts away. You're my paradise. My paradise, my paradise. You're my paradise. My paradise, my paradise. You're my paradise. My paradise, my paradise. My paradise, my paradise. Malaysia, truly Asia.
sun loves to shine, and sandy beaches and clear blue waters and smiling friendly faces.
This land is beautiful. It steals your heart away. This land is paradise, only a smile away. The soul of Asia, the essence of Asia. In this land where dreams come true, Malaysia. This land is beautiful. It steals your heart away. This land is paradise, only a smile away. The soul of Asia, the essence of Asia. In this land where dreams come true, Malaysia. This land is beautiful. It steals your heart away. This land is paradise, only a smile away. The soul of Asia, the essence of Asia. In this land where dreams come true, Malaysia. This land is beautiful. It steals your heart away. This land is paradise, only a smile away. The soul of Asia, the essence of Asia. In this land where dreams come true, Malaysia, truly Asia.